Welcome everybody to These Aren't the Nerds You're Looking For. Lorenzo sitting here with
Kevin Horde. How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Good. How you?
I'm doing well.
Yeah.
Got my daughter down for a nap. Taking a little bit of time to sit down and talk the Clone Wars with my good buddy Lorenzo. It's a good day.
We got a good one coming up. This one is Season 1, Episode 17, Blue Shadow Virus. Aired originally on February 13th, 2009.
Correct.
Yep.
I've got a production code of... I got a production code of 126. So this is actually the last episode that would have been produced for Season 1 if everything went by production line. So I don't know if that means that they started this last and then or finished it last or how that works.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either. Which is, we'll get to it later, but this is a part 1 of an arc as well, which is interesting. So
right.
So it's weird that this one is potentially the last one they either worked on or finished or
I'll just throw it out there today instead of waiting until next week. Mystery of 1,000 Moons has a production code of 202. So it's possible that this would have kind of been like Blue Shadow Virus, like the end of a season, and then Mystery of 1,000 Moons, like the beginning of the next season, which I think
that makes sense.
We can get into whether or not that would have worked later after thumbs up, thumbs down. So I'm thinking for now we'll jump into Fortune Cookie and beyond.
Yeah. So the fortune cookie for this one is: fear is a disease. Hope is its only cure.
Yep.
Straightforward. Again, another nice straightforward one. This one has a nice semicolon separating the two thoughts, which is fun. Because actually, thinking back, I didn't check all my notes, but there have been fortune cookies with multiple sentences, right?
I think so.
They haven't locked themselves into a single sentence or anything, right?
I don't think so. I think that we've had... Yeah. I was just thinking that I don't really remember punctuation in general in the fortune cookie, but I guess it makes sense. Because we have talked about the grammatics of how the...
Some of the phrases.
Yeah, how the phrases flow,
statements.
So...
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, no, it's a good use of the semicolon, which I don't think gets used enough, so...
I agree with you.
Bravo to the team on that one.
So who said
it? Other than the fact that it's not correct in his manner of phrasing, this is a sentiment that I definitely feel like Yoda would kind of spread out there, right?
Okay. I gave this one to Jyn Erso.
Ooh, that's a good point. Yeah.
At first I put Leia, and then I was like, no, I don't think, not Leia, but,
Yeah, Jyn is all about that hope, isn't she? So.
Yeah, it totally reminded me of something, one of those little motivational sentiments that she throws out that we see a couple of times, so that's...
Which would then get interrupted by that voice in the background just yelling, "What is she proposing?"
Right. Or some snarky comment from K2SO.
So aggressive in the background.
It was a good moment. It really was.
I think even the first time I saw that movie, as much as I was into that moment, as soon as that voice just cut in, just like, who is yelling like that? Why?
Hey, louder in the back. I can't hear you. What's going on?
Why are there no microphones?
Down in front.
Can someone repeat what she said?
All the fucking Bothans are too tall. I can't see over them.
We're being attacked by who now?
Wait, where?
I am trying to find the bathroom.
Heard something about womp rats.
So, anyways, what we got going on in this episode is that the droids are back on Naboo. And worried about another invasion, Padme and Jar Jar are returning to their home planet to see what's going on, right? Yes.
Yep. So, did they have to return to Naboo, or were they already there?
I believe they were returning back. They were maybe on Coruscant or something.
Because it shows them coming in and landing, right?
Yes.
I think it totally does. Yep. Because I got a note that says Padme totally does like a Tokyo Drift parking maneuver.
Yes, yeah, she kind of comes in and does a sideways drift, which is really interesting because I wonder if that move is determined by which way the landing platform is facing.
Mm-hmm.
Or not the little catwalk that drops out, right?
Right.
So she turns specifically because the current queen of Naboo and Captain Typho are there to greet Padme and Jar Jar.
Yes, so I have two questions about that. One,
yes.
Did you catch the queen's name? Because I don't think I did. I don't believe I wrote it down. And two, it was my understanding that once Padme was no longer queen, Typho continued service to her as her bodyguard.
Yes. I did not look into what happened to Captain Typho, but because at the beginning of Attack of the Clones, when there is the assassination attempt on Padme, Captain Typho is with her.
Correct.
And she definitely, at that point, is only a senator and not a queen.
Correct.
So then I also have the same question as to why Captain Typho then switches
back to
duty directives. Yeah.
Switches duty directives to
protect the queen and not Padme.
Oh, okay. Right. Switches back to the queen. Yeah. Because
yes,
even later in Attack of the Clones, after the explosion, and I mean it's not too much later, but when Obi-Wan and Anakin show up, I think he introduces himself as the senator's head of Padme's security force, right?
Yes, something like that, yeah.
Unless I'm confusing that with his uncle in Attack of the Clones. Or in
Phantom Menace,
yeah.
Yeah.
I still think that's weird
sort of
that Panaka and Typho are related.
I think that was an unnecessary detail that they threw in just to appease fans, and that might have been confused that the other guy didn't want to return for whatever weird reason.
Like, we'll just throw an eye patch on him and then it'll be his nephew.
Yes, exactly. Like, no, it's just another guard. We don't care about that guard that much. Like, it's fine. We could have just moved on. The other guard died, okay? That's all we needed to hear, if that.
It happens.
Right? So, unnecessary detail in a universe that is filled with unnecessary details. So, the queen, I do have her name written down. I do not believe she is named at any point in the episode.
Yeah, I think I just called her Queen 3.
Yes. So, the subtitles, if you have them turned on Netflix, definitely gave them away. I got it off of Wikipedia. She is Queen Niyutni.
Okay.
Or Niyutni. Neeyutne.
Spell that one more time. I'm going to write this down.
Neeyutnee. Niyutni. Queen Niyutni.
So if she were to get married and take on a new name, then she would be like Niyutni Nee something else? Whenever she would...
Or it's the whatever else Niyutni.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe. Yes.
Yes. So, Niyutni.
That gets extra confusing.
Yeah. So, why this name is interesting. Also, the character design on her makeup is very, very 1930s clown-ish.
Yep, it is. You
got
no
the
arguments from me there.
Yeah, the triangles above and below her eyes, white face. They kind of gave her a weird kind of Japanese doll head shape.
Mm-hmm.
She's a very tiny figure of a person.
Yeah.
They give her like smaller eyes too.
They went to like a weird clown geisha type design.
Yes, absolutely. So it's very... It definitely threw me off. It wasn't like a bad character design. It just made me uncomfortable for weird reasons. So just, Captain Typho, though, his rendering looked really good. Looked just like the dude. So Yeah.
I met Jay Lagaya one time.
Did you really?
Yep, I got a photograph with him.
One of the various celebrations you've attended, or?
Yes, it was the same celebration that I met Dave Filoni, actually, in the
Nice.
in the same spot. Well, so I guess Jay Lagaya was staying at the same hotel because he was like the MC for the event.
Nice.
And I was like, "Holy shit, Mr. Lagaya, how you doing? You mind if I get a picture with you?" And he kind of was like, "I guess." So he'd be
like, dude, you're at Star Wars Celebration. You know what signed up for,
well,
right?
It was. I mean, I guess I can understand because, it was at the hotel and he had just come out the front door, and I assume he was probably waiting for a ride for somebody to come pick him up and take him somewhere, right? Shuttle service or whatever, I don't know. So he kind of looked around and was like, I don't know if he was looking around to see if there, was a whole bunch of other people that were going to mob rush him. But it was just me. So begrudgingly he said yes. And unfortunately, I do not think that I have a copy of that photo anymore.
That's sad.
That was several phones ago.
I will have to show you the ways of backing up pictures.
Yeah, and I don't think I have photographic proof that I met Dave Filoni either. So there's that.
Yeah, it's all right. You have the story.
But speaking of character designs, what do you think of Miss Padme Amidala's outfit?
Oh, I didn't make the note, but it did stick out in my mind, and I did want to talk about that. It's confusing. It's very concerning on a children's television show. She's wearing kind of what is like the cross torso, cross boob, like silk thing that exposes her midriff, right?
Not only her midriff, but when you can see her from the back, like she's wearing some type of shawl to cover her shoulders, but this garment presumably crisscrosses under her neck and goes up around the back of her neck, and her whole back is exposed from neck to waistline.
Yes. Yeah, it's a very confusing outfit just in terms of production of the episode, but also in-universe fashion design / tactical wear.
Why is she kind of wearing like a revealing sexy swimsuit with a shawl and a skirt when she's hanging out with Jar Jar?
Then the other thing, I don't know if you noticed, it occurs just a few shots right in the beginning while she's meeting with Queen Nyutni and Captain Typho. When you see her from the side profile, the design on her torso is really bizarre as well, where it looks like her rib cage ends, and then there's like a cavern dip that goes underneath her rib cage and like sunkens in on her stomach.
Okay.
Which is really weird. Like, it makes her look like an anorexic freak is what it does.
Okay. I will look out for that. I feel like that's kind of the way the design that she, like her body design, even when she's wearing full coverage clothes, that you can kind of tell that that's what's going on, because most of her outfits are not flowing and containing extra fabric, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
They are form-fitting, so... But I'll have to take a look at that.
Yeah, I'll have to pay more attention while she's clothed as well, but it just threw me off again in terms of just...
You heard it here today. Lorenzo only pays attention to Padme when she's not fully clothed.
When she's not fully clothed. Well, it just, like, it was distracting regarding just, like, body image issues, and also in terms of... This is its own can of worms of shit, and we won't get into it, but in terms of male gaze... Have I brought this up before on the show?
You have brought up male gaze before.
Yeah, so again, it's another weird issue of just who's designing this, who is this for, and why, right? So, even as a guy, it's just really distracting and disturbing for me to see. especially in a show that would have aired on Cartoon Network. So, yeah, it's just weird. Also, because in Attack of the Clones, it's not without precedent in the Star Wars universe, despite being a family series as a whole, of having Leia in a metal bikini,
right,
and Padme's clothing literally getting ripped off in Attack of the Clones.
Off of her.
Yeah, and getting images of her midriff, but she's a skinny person. She's just not a freakishly Jack Skellington looking person, right?
Right.
So that's kind of where I have trouble with this character design and the clothing outfits that they give her in this specific thing, right?
Right. I figured that you would have something to say about it, so all that I wrote was, Lorenzo, what do you think of Padme's outfit?
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, I didn't even take the note. I just saw it and was like, yep, okay, that's
I took it for
ridiculous. Yeah. So, what's the next thing?
I got one other question.
Go ahead.
What do you make out of the ship that Padme arrives in? Because this is the same ship design that Jar Jar destroyed on Rhodia.
I'm sure the insurance just bought them another one, is what happened.
You think is what it is? Because I know that I don't know if it's canon anymore, but the way that it used to be is that the chrome, like the fact that the ship is chrome, was reserved for like Naboobian royalty. And so because she was queen, like the queen flew in the silver chrome ship. And then when she stopped being queen and went on to become a senator, the queen that was elected after her, they opted to still give her the privilege of like the head of state. It would be like if President Obama still had
Air Force One. Yes. So that is,
and then his funny comical assistant smashed Air Force One, and they gave him a new one.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, we're gonna have Boeing make you another one. No problem. Here you go.
No problem.
No problem. Here you go. Thanks, Boeing. Yeah, this is not explanation that I was privy to before. It's really interesting. I don't see the reasoning behind why they would need a specific ship per se.
Right. I kind of feel like
chrome,
yeah, I kind of feel like in this circumstance, it's like somebody forgot that the ship got smashed up.
Or, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Or something to that effect. So,
yeah.
I don't know that there's really like an excuse for it, but that's the way it is. That's what we got.
Again, yeah, so either insurance replaces the ship or they salvaged the other one and replaced it or whatever.
Because Bombad Jedi was production code 105, so that would have been like earlier in the production line, like way earlier in the production, and this is like 20 episodes / stories later, so maybe somebody just forgot that Jar Jar had already destroyed the ship.
Exactly. Yeah. Or, you have like different directors, different writers all working on the same thing, so it gets confusing, and sometimes you need somebody to check the internal logic of programming, right? So.
Right.
Yeah. And in this one there was definitely an oversight. So. Anyways, moving on.
Yeah, let's get into the plot of this thing. What's going on? So there's droids on the planet. So
droids on the planet. Padme is checking in. The Queen and Captain Typho have a little conversation with Padme, and the Queen requests that Padme get the help of the Senate or the Jedi for help.
Okay.
The Queen sounds hella frustrated with the whole situation.
Okay.
She...
Is it because she's in black and white and everybody else is in color?
Probably. Yeah, except she's got the red and white, like, Pennywise clown makeup on. So she's got that much going for her.
Yeah.
But,
That's it.
So,
she is mad because instead of going to the Stephen King convention in Feed, she has to talk to the former queen and her former queen's bodyguard about some droids.
Yeah, some droids, and she's not able to go check out the Castle Rock convention that's happening. So
right, correct.
Yeah,
that's what we nailed it.
So a tactical droid has been captured, and they go to check on that shit. Is the clinical term I will give it. They cut its vision, and they trick it into thinking that it's been revived in a separatist ship.
Yeah, so is that the way that this read, is that they were cutting its vision? Because I thought that they were just, like, sawing the dude's head open so that they could get in, like, plug in to get some information. But
oh, I agree. That's what I thought they were going to do. And then when the thing woke up, I thought there was going to be a freak out of some sort, but it seems like it was always the plan to cut its vision.
Yeah, I think this is a foolish plan. But,
oh, absolutely.
We've got a couple of things to go on with droids, so I'm gonna save it till we get to the next instance.
Okay,
'cause that's coming up shortly.
Yeah. So C-3PO is around, and Padme pretty much orders him to talk to the droid, which is interesting because there's a moment where C-3PO doesn't want to watch them cutting open the droid.
It's like the robot version of being queasy. He's like, I'm getting a bad feeling about this. And then he says, permission to shut down before my circuits overload.
Yes.
Because he sees this other droid getting its head cut open. And Padme's like, nope, not going to happen.
Yeah, you're sticking around. We need you for this very next thing, which is talking to the droid and tricking that it's on a separatist ship, which works to some degree. C-3PO asks, or basically says that its mission was successful and that was a good job you did. Will you explain to us what happened on the mission and what is going on? So that's how they're playing it to get the information out of this droid.
So the droid informs us that there is some sort of virus and secret base on Naboo that Naboo cannot find out about, and that there was a leak of said virus. So while this is going on, Jar Jar is chasing around a bug.
Yes.
It is a slug beetle that is in this episode and one other episode, and I think that's it. And as he does this, they're in like a droid repair shop or something, because there's all manner of droid parts, probably enough droid parts to make many droids. Like there's heads and torsos and legs and feet and wheels and
and they're like all laid out on these shelves that are aligned next to each other.
Correct.
Like a big old library of droid parts.
Right. So Jar Jar's trying to like catch this bug and gets his tongue stuck in like the upturned empty head of another droid, and the gears like pull his tongue in. It ends up on his head like a helmet, and then of course he knocks all the shelves over. So as they start getting some info out of this droid, he fucks that shit up and
kills the droid.
The bookshelves full of droid parts like fall over and smash this droid, and then everybody's like, well, that's the end of that. We'll never get any information out of that guy again.
Yeah. Which was annoying, to say the least, as a viewer standpoint.
It doesn't. Yeah, it's not consistent with things that we've seen in the past, as far as droids go.
No.
So,
because they, as you're getting at, there are other ways to plug into a droid and get information.
Right. This is what I was going to save until the next time we see a droid.
Yeah.
So.
We'll
get to that.
We'll get there, yeah. So the bug scene does have a payoff that happens pretty much fairly quickly.
It's pretty much instantly afterwards. Padme sees this bug and she's like, is that what you're looking for? Like that, all of this because of that? And then we've got our Jar Jar impersonator, who's not Ahmed Best, in this episode.
Definitely not.
And he's like, "Oh, muy muy, it's so delicious." And he says something like it's got good tongue and feeling or something.
Yeah, something weird.
Something real weird.
Something off, yeah.
And through no fault of Jar Jar's own, he figures out that this bug is only lives in one area. It lives underneath the Prulota tree in the roots. So there's just like one place where these trees grow. So by default, they figure out where they need to go to figure out where this droid came from to potentially find this hidden laboratory.
Yes. Yeah, it's something like the evidence of the bug and the fact that there is mud on the droids together.
Right.
Is enough for them to make that leap.
Yep. Like, there is bug. Bug grows in place where there is mud. There's mud on droids. Then we're going to connect all this together and hope that this pans out.
Yeah, therefore we go there, and it's the eastern swamps, they say. Yes? Did you mention that already?
I did not say specifically that it was the eastern swamps, but
swamps.
That's the location that they're going to. So at this point, the queens, the Naboobian queens call. They do a little holocron call to Mason Yoda, and they send 2 Jedi. Amidala requests to Obi-Wan because he has good relations with the Gungans. I'm not sure why he has good relations with the Gungans. Is that something that we saw previously?
It's probably from Phantom Menace, right? His relationship that was built.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I ignore the direct connection, and I'm like trying to find some convoluted way around.
Yeah, regarding just the show itself. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it's definitely from his dealings with Boss Nass and the fact that, like, if Qui-Gon was still alive, it would have been Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan that would have been sent, right?
Mm-hmm. So,
but because everybody knows what happened to Qui-Gon, they're like, oh, well, Obi is still our awesome buddy here, so.
Right, next best thing.
Yes.
So they send Obi-Wan and Anakin, and at this point, I'm racking my brain. Like, they're essentially like the 2 best generals in the Jedi army, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But they always get sent on missions together.
Yeah.
Is this the way that normal battle works? Is like you put the 2 best guys together and you let them fight together all the time, and then you like put the mediocre people together and you let them fight together all the time, then you put like the no-name people together that are disposable? Like they're the complete opposite of a red shirt on Star Trek.
Yeah, I think in this universe it's more of the matter that the Jedi are very, because they want to try and hold a position of being the peacemakers. You know, they always do send in 2 instead of just like having 1 general lead a charge, because they just want to. My only reasoning is something like they just want to have 2 people supporting each other rather than putting all the weight on one's shoulders per se.
So is that why they always have to go in and like save the fucking day? Because basically, like Plo Koon was by himself, got his shit blown up. Ayla Secura was by herself, and she got her shit blowed up. But then we've got a couple missions where it's just Ahsoka and then 1 other Jedi, like those 2 in particular, and Luminara Unduli also. Like Ahsoka is paired up with one of those. So I'm sure I don't know that there's a logical explanation for it, and I would imagine that it falls more down to we want to get both of these guys in the show.
Yeah, which isn't always necessary. But it's like one of those things where the first thing you see in Phantom Menace is they go to negotiate and they send 2 Jedi.
But that's right, but that's a master and his Padawan. That's not a master and a master.
True. Yeah, that's true.
Like, we've got 2 Jedi Masters that keep getting paired up together.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them has a Padawan. So they're sending 3 Jedi.
Yeah. I don't... The internal logic of this, I agree, it's flawed. It's definitely... the point is they just want Obi-Wan and Anakin in an episode together, and they're just like, fuck it.
We found one thing in this show that doesn't make 100% sense, so I think I'm gonna have to resign after this episode. This is gonna be it for me.
One thing.
One thing. Yeah. Everything up to this point was flawless in logic.
Yep.
And absolutely airtight. Couldn't drop that shit in a fish tank and get a single bubble out of it.
Nope.
So I might have to say sayonara after this one.
You heard it here, guys.
We'll see if the rest of this episode changes my mind or not.
So this episode is our Let It Be album.
Maybe.
So we'll see.
It's not our Let It Go album, I'll tell you that much. So Amidala heads off to find the lab, and
yes.
On the way, so she takes Jar Jar with her for whatever reason. They're dressed up in like these hazmat suits in this oddly matching yellow ship, which I briefly did a little bit of Googling to try to find out what ship this is, but I couldn't figure that out. So I've got no info on that, and we can just move on. But along the way, I think one thing that we may have missed is that we see this other pink Gungan at some point in time.
Yes, this would have happened right after Padme and Jar Jar announced that they're going to go search for the lab.
Okay.
We jump to a scene with these creatures, the Shacks. Is that what they're called?
Yep.
SHAA.
Double A.
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
So they're drinking from a river, and a whole bunch of them end up dying.
All the ones that are drinking out of the river die, and this Gungan, we learned her name is Peppy Bo.
Yep.
She is scooping up some water and figures out what's going on, and then like shoos the rest of the Shacks away, and this is the scene that Padme and Jar Jar come upon. So they get out and to do some investigation, and for some reason Peppy Bo like attacks Jar Jar.
Yeah. It was confusing to me too why that was, but I think she was just being reactionary after seeing a bunch of her herd die.
I guess so.
Right.
And the fact that they're like in these hazmat suits is the reason, suspicious or whatever. Mm-hmm. So she attacks them, knocks off Jar Jar's helmet, to which he's doing the Buzz Lightyear thing of like gasping for air, like trying not to breathe, and once
like covering his mouth.
Right. Because he's like, oh no, why'd you do that? And then he covers his mouth like, oh shit, I shouldn't be speaking. He said, no be speaking.
Yeah. Because at this point, they know that there's a virus of some sort, but they don't know anything beyond that.
Right.
So they are concerned that it's an airborne virus. They got nothing.
Right.
What I do want to ask, though, is that... So we'll learn more details later, but I find it interesting that there is a virus that needs to be consumed to be fatal. But the fact that Peppy Bo did get her hands in the river...
I thought the same thing.
Yeah, puts it towards her mouth, freaks out, drops it, and then shoos away
like
the rest of her.
Maybe she ran off and washed her hands, or maybe she's one of those people that carries around like Purell antibacterial hand sanitizer, so that she was able to clean herself up like that.
Yeah.
I mean, she is the first Gungan that we see kind of doing something with their appearance to make them to spruce themselves up a bit, I suppose.
Yeah. I did find it interesting, now that you bring up the outfit, that she was wearing a hat.
She is wearing like a Kung Lao hat.
Yes. A big round hat, which I find interesting just based on the physiology of the Gungans, where their eyes protrude upwards out of their heads.
Yeah, I do have a note about Jar Jar in this hazmat suit, and clearly it was designed for a human. And so he's got to like cram his ears like down the back of the neck of the thing. But then the helmet should fit like down to your forehead, which is where his eyeballs are. So his eyeballs and his eye stalks are like all scrunched down and like poking forward towards the mask shield thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks comical. Like, he looks uncomfortable. Whoever digitally drew him up and put him in this thing, kudos to them, because they did a great job showing that he's like crammed into this deal.
I agree with you there. Those were all details I noticed as well, because I noticed with her and the hat too, because her eyes also are kind of pushed forward rather than up while she has the hat on, and so her eyes kind of do like a slug, like they protrude forward, but then they still bend up so that her eyes are facing forward,
like Gary the Snail.
Yes, Gary the Snail, exactly, completely. Yes.
It's been a while since I brought up Gary the Snail.
Gary the Snail is one of my favorite SpongeBob characters. So, him and Mr. Krabs and his need for money.
I'm impartial to Squidward.
Squidward is one that SpongeBob tangent. It's really fun being a child and identifying with SpongeBob, and then literally doubling in age, and then realizing that Squidward had it right the entire time.
I was introduced to SpongeBob in my late high school years. So maybe that would influence why I like Squidward the way that I do. Mm-hmm. But I agree with you. Mr. Krabs pretty awesome. Gary the Snail is the shit.
Yep, Gary the Snail is the best. Absolutely, no question.
So, as far as regular reoccurring main characters go on that show. But,
yeah, that's been our SpongeBob tangent on the Star Wars podcast show you're listening to. So.
These aren't the sponges
the
you're
generic
looking
nerds.
for.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, these aren't the anemones you're looking for. The anemones?
Anemones.
Anemones.
Anemone.
Anemones?
Anemone.
I'm never going to get that right. Thanks to fucking Finding Nemo of all things, so.
I seen an enemy.
I seen an enemy. Yeah, I got nothing. Anyways.
So she's got her eyes poking forward a little bit like Gary the Snail.
Yes.
She also has her ears are like tied back as though they're in a ponytail. And I feel like this would be more uncomfortable than getting my eyes squished a little bit by a hat.
Yeah, I
Hard
feel
to say,
that the Gungans would have figured out other ways about going about this and the need for sun protection or whatever.
Aren't there some Gungans that have some type of helmet or some type of cranial covering in the Phantom Menace?
Well, like the general guy, the purple general guy has like the helmet thing in his eyes. There's like holes for his eyes that pop
right,
through the
like
helmet,
a Spartan helmet with some slits in it that his eyes come out, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's like a leather football cap is what I'm imagining right now, but it had like the spacers for it.
So you would think
for some reason I remember it being like leathery in appearance, but I could be wrong. It's been a short while since I've seen.
Perhaps it was made out of these shacks.
Probably. These poor dead shacks.
Side note about the shack is that the idea behind these were to be a grazing animal, so it was the equivalent of a sheep, but on Naboo. So they were designed all the way back for Phantom Menace. And I guess you can see them in some background shots, probably on like the plains before the Battle of Naboo, would be my guess, or maybe on like an establishing shot of Theed or something in the background.
Yeah,
but they're definitely in the Phantom Menace. They're also in Rogue One.
They're in Rogue One.
They're in Rogue One.
These aren't. Are these actually finish your Rogue One thought, and then I'll bring up my other.
It says the Wikipedia says that they're in Rogue One represented as toys. So
interesting.
I guess this is the equivalent of a like farm set in the Star Wars universe, and I would imagine that it would be Jen Erso's toys. Like she's
she's a child.
She's got some Shaq dolls that she plays with her stormtrooper. Maybe he herds the Shaqs around or something. So for anybody that isn't real clear what exact animal we're talking about, this is the thing that Anakin surfs in the
Attack of the Clones
field at the bottom of Niagara Falls.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up. I thought that was the thing he was surfing, and then he falls off, and then for like a hot second, Padme thinks he's hurt or dead.
Yeah, he pretends to be injured so that she comes over so they can roll around in the grass and shock turds, I would imagine.
Very turds. Romantically so. Right, yes. How very romantic, all of those scenes. Yep, if there's one thing George Lucas does well, it's write a emotionally charged romance scene by Niagara Falls and fields of Nabooian flowers.
Nabooian flowers.
Nabooian flowers.
Or if you listen to Watto, it'd be Nubian.
Is that what he says it?
Yeah, because he goes, when they're talking about Padme's ship, he's like, Nubian, not bad, Nubian, not bad. And it's
that accent.
Qui-Gon describes it as a Nubian type J27.
Okay, Nubian. All right, that
but
also
it should
sounds
be like Naboobian.
Racist. Yeah,
it does sound racist. It should be like Naboobian.
So she's a Nubian queen in episode 1?
Presumably. She is the Nubian queen.
There are all sorts of problems with that.
Yes, there
are. We're moving on. There's
I wouldn't be surprised if it was typed up in the script as Naboobian and
which also causes its own problems.
Right. Qui-Gon didn't quite get it right, and George was like, moving on. Said the words, moving on. They're like, yep. He just, like, so that means she's a Nubian queen? Nope. Moving on.
Let me try one more quote. I feel like I have another take in me. George, nope. We're moving on. You got it. We can fix it in post. What?
We'll fix it in post. We'll just have you say, no!
Yeah. Yep. Okay. I got nothing else to add about the Nubian queen. We're going to just move on forward.
Yeah, we'll move on forward. Let's fast forward a little bit through some of this stuff. So, inadvertently, Peppy Bo explains where the destination that they're looking for. So, they knew it was in a swamp at the base of some trees, so of course they stopped in a field. At a stream. But Peppy Bo points them in the right direction. They cruise on over there, and they find a swamp, and that's it. And then inadvertently they are captured because there are like these camera scopes that come up from underground. So then we figure out that hey, this secret laboratory base is underground. They've got some communication back and forth with Obi-Wan because he's there by this point, right?
Yep.
And Obi-Wan.
Actually, no, they're not there yet. She calls back to
that's right.
Typho.
Yes.
She calls back to Typho, and Queen Nyutni does give the coordinates of where they're at, which I think is really smart. She leaves a note, essentially, before she goes explore more. And then they come across the base because Jar Jar like slips and then finds like a secret hatch of some sort, right?
Yeah, he basically wipes a little bit of dirt off the ground, and they find the hatch from Lost.
Yeah, it's a metal hatch in the middle of Naboo, mud.
So
swamp.
This brings up my question, the same question that I brought up last week. Like, how the fuck did these secret bases and shit get built without anybody knowing anything's going on? Like, this is a major construction project.
Yeah, this one for sure is harder for me to try and explain away for sure. I got nothing on this one because it's not just a small little secret lab that's being built under here. This
is a multi-tier underground hidden base with bunkers, retractable roofs essentially, and tunnels and all kinds of shit that we will come across later.
Yeah. I don't understand. This I don't understand.
And it is inches, centimeters from the surface.
The only thing I can explain is that maybe it's in such a secluded area that it's not somewhere that's being heavily monitored per se. So even if there's a lot of resources getting moved around, nobody's really looking that direction. But it's one of those things where even here, I don't know, like if some weird giant construction project started happening somewhere, somebody would notice it, right?
I would think so. I mean, maybe, like, I don't know, like, are there not satellites and shit? Like here, they're here on the planet Earth. There's fucking satellites flying around. You can get on like Google Satellite and check out like anywhere on the fucking planet that you want, right?
Yeah.
And although it is not camera live for you and me, there is somebody out there somewhere that is probably able to just tap into a satellite and check out probably what's going on wherever.
Yeah, like somebody's processing some of this information in some form.
Right. And not only is it going to be a giant construction project, you're going to have to bring materials and shit in. This is not going to be built overnight. This is going to take a long time. And then to be able to do that without disturbing the jungle around you.
Yeah. Because it's a big dig, too. Like, how do you handle all of this, right?
Where did all the dirt go?
Yes, exactly. Where'd the dirt go? Do you need, like, big digging equipment? You know, do you need fucking...
you need a lot. You need a lot of shit. I'll tell you that much.
Right? Yeah.
I have dug plenty of ditches, and you either do it with a shovel and it takes you a long time, or you get some equipment in there and equipment does damage to the surrounding area when you're doing things like this. And yes, like you said, it's loud, and you've got residual effect other than just digging a hole, because you got to put the dirt somewhere, and then even if you use that dirt to backfill whatever you need to, like, you're still gonna have excess dirt, and or you're gonna do damage to the jungle by digging a hole the size of the Empire State Building. Maybe not that large. That might be an exaggeration.
But still, it's a sizable area, because, like, think about it this way too.
We'll say like a 6-floor budget-in motel.
Yes. Here's another thing I just thought of right now too. Again, I will bring up Disney theme parks whenever I can, because I feel like the parks have so many facets to them, and this is why they fascinate me as a whole. But property in Orlando was getting purchased up parcel by parcel by shell companies from Walt Disney himself, right?
So that then he could combine all parcels of land together and create this project, so he wasn't paying a premium for the land that he wanted?
Yes. But the point I want to make, though, is that so somebody still technically owns this land, whether it be government or not.
Potentially.
And then also, he was able to buy up a shit ton of land in Florida, like 43 square miles of it. But then there was a moment where wind was caught of what was happening, and then the prices, of course, got jacked up.
Right.
You know? So
somebody figured it out.
Yeah. So even in terms of just like land purchasing, right?
I would imagine that they did not do this legally, so I don't think that there was any purchase of land. My next question is, who built this?
Yeah. Is it contractors or are there actual on-staff separatists that...
Okay, you said separatist. So, was it... Like, the separatists are made up of... They're an alliance of independent systems.
Yes.
So which system decided to do this?
Who's footing that bill?
Who's paying the bill? Is it the banking clan? I don't know how long it takes to build something like this, but even it seems like this Civil War division or, galactic split is at this point max 15 years old.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So in that time, that seems pretty quick to undertake all of this in secret.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But I guess maybe after the Battle of Naboo, which would have been 12 years before-ish. 11, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the battle droids and or other related parties to the Separatists stuck around, and they started on this project then.
Yeah. And I'm sure there's a fast mode of putting together some of these things probably that they're kind of getting into, yeah?
Okay.
Like, hey, get the actual fucking diggers and make this thing for whatever reason. But again,
I feel like it would have been smart. We see the design. I'll bitch about the design of this later. Let's move forward.
Yes. Okay.
Otherwise, I'll just keep asking you more questions, and we'll keep on going and going and going. Okay. So then Obi-Wan and Anakin arrive, right? After Padme talks to Queen.
Yeah. So we get.
Niyutni.
No. We still get another scene as far as my notes show.
Okay.
So we have a scene of. So Jar Jar and Padme get captured.
Gotcha.
Yep, they get captured first. So they find the secret hatch. They call in the coordinates. Then droids pop out of the mud like fucking daisies.
Yeah, I think what they are, so we do see some cameras, and like the cameras are integrated into the surrounding area where it's like a camera pops up with like a rock on it, and then I think another one might as well pop up with like a flower on it.
Yes, exactly.
So we meet Dr. Nuvo Vindi. Mm-hmm. He is the administrator of this establishment. Mm-hmm. And he says something to the effect of, "Oh, I can always use more lab rats. Like, go get them, sick them, boys."
Yep.
And I guess it's just coincidence that around this hatch there are also smaller hatches with some droid ejection elevators. It's similar to what Lando uses to get Luke off the top of the Falcon. But there's a bunch of them around the initial hatch. So they get caught, and then they get pulled down in, and then they're interrogated, in quotes, by Dr. Vindi, and he does some villain monologuing, some beautiful villain monologuing, and describes his plan. So
like everything about the plan is
everything about the plan with cackles and everything.
Like
so
strangely Eastern European accent as well.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if this was just like a straight like German scientist.
Yeah, that's
analog.
Kind of what I was getting out of it. Because he sounded like what's his name? The actor's name is it's Toby Jones from Captain America, right? What's his?
Yeah,
name?
I gotcha.
Not Red Skull, but Red Skull's like assistant dude.
Uh-huh.
That's exactly the accent I heard in my head. But
if you want to tell everybody what that plan is...
Yes, that's what I was heading into. So Dr. Nuvo Vindi, who was at this point still unnamed, nobody mentions his name, he reveals that he created the Blue Shadow virus. Or recreated. Did I say recreated? He recreated the Blue Shadow virus. Padme freaks out, and she's like, "The Blue Shadow virus, that went extinct." And that thing is like deadly, and that's why we eradicated it, because it's very, very dangerous.
Yeah, so I looked into it on Wikipedia, and the Blue Shadow virus affected and killed every carbon-based life form that it came across, with a death rate of 96%.
Ooh-wee.
Now, oddly enough, once you're infected with the Blue Shadow virus, you have 48 hours to administer the antidote.
Okay. Dr. Vindy does bring up that in the original form of Blue Shadow virus, which I will just start calling BSV.
BSV it is.
The BSV needs water. Its original form is spread through water.
Yes, it needs water as a catalyst to attack its victim.
Yes. So what Vindy went ahead and did is that he created an airborne version of the virus.
Yeah, he basically like shocks it with electricity, and voila, it is airborne now.
Yeah. It visually is interesting to look at. Logically makes zero sense.
So I think what happened is that he had it in water, and then he struck it with electricity to just like break the hydrogen-oxygen bond, so then it is just a vaporized form of the water. Yeah. So it's probably more like water vapor than just like in the
actual
quote-unquote in the air.
Yeah, an airborne virus thing.
Right.
Yeah. Because Dr. Vindy kind of brings up this really interesting mad scientist point that I can't think off the top of my head that anybody else has ever had this sort of mad scientist reasoning.
Okay.
Which I liked in its craziness of it. But Dr. Vindy kind of sympathizes with the virus as a living entity all its own.
Yes.
And doesn't agree with the fact that what he considers to be a living entity of some sort to have been eradicated completely.
Yes.
So I did find that point really interesting regarding BSV from him.
This is actually a parallel to the way that scientists do approach certain things here on planet Earth by way of not completely eradicating essentially anything.
Yeah.
And what they do is they will keep it in a secured environment, shall we say. Like, polio has been taken care of, right? Like, we don't have to worry about polio anymore.
Generally speaking, in the first world country.
I'm trying to think.
There's one, and it's...
There's
polio
something...
is close. Polio is almost there. Shit, which one is it? Because I know there...
Yeah. You look into that, and I'm going to keep going, and then when you find it, let me know. And by the way, you were thinking of...
smallpox.
Okay, smallpox. And I was thinking of smallpox, and earlier you were thinking of Dr. Zola.
Yes, Dr. Zola, yep. Yeah, so smallpox...
So smallpox is not around in the means of... if you go to the bathroom too many times at the movie theater, you're going to catch smallpox from somebody else. Yeah. But smallpox is around in a controlled... I don't know how to say it. Essentially, like, somewhere there is a lab or there are scientists that have vials. Like,
yeah, there is a vial of smallpox that has been kept around. There are multiple reasons for it. It's...
Right, and from my understanding, like, one of the reasons is that, say down the line in the future, like some other thing mutates and pops up, and it's like worse than smallpox, and the only thing that like corrects it is something within the smallpox virus.
Yes, it's sort of like that, and also like if something like that arises and we need like a starting point to study something. Or even just for like it's like a historical archive sort of thing of having smallpox on hand, right?
Right.
So basically nowadays, like the smallpox vaccine, because it's eradicated, is not necessary, but like the polio vaccine is still recommended and needed, but the vaccination thing is That's all I'm going to say about that. Take your vaccinations, everybody.
Inoculate.
And inoculate, and therefore we won't have polio. But because polio is one of the next ones that's being attempted to be eradicated.
Right.
But in the last handful of years, there's been an uptick in polio in nations like the United States for reasons.
There was just like a measles outbreak at Disney last year, right?
A few years back, yes.
Right,
Which
a couple years
measles
ago.
is not a thing that anybody really should worry about, but we have to worry about it again for reasons. So, yeah, this is its own thing I don't want to fully get into, but for the love of fucking God, vaccines are a thing that work. So
vaccines do not cause autism and all that jazz. So
no, they do not.
I'll leave it at that.
And yeah, so yeah, like yeah. So if you want your kids to get polio, then go ahead. Let your kids get polio. So that's all I gotta say.
Agreed. Did we
moving on?
Are Annie and Obi-Wan here yet? Did they show up yet?
So there is one more piece of information that gets leaked from Dr. Vindy that is important to bring up. So BSV has been turned into an airborne virus, and he is placing the airborne virus in a bomb.
Not just a bomb, right? Does he at this point he says bomb singular?
Yeah, he says bomb. He's holding a bomb, but he's like, oh, we're gonna put them in bombs.
Okay.
And I didn't take the note specifically, but at some point he does say, I'm just gonna call it out here because it's not really, it doesn't matter when we say this, but he does have a plan to launch the bombs to all that is needed, he says, is one bomb per each major system.
Right, so essentially what he's going to do is what the Empire did with their probe droids in Empire Strikes Back. He is going to do something similar with these bombs that are loaded up with the BSV, right?
Yes, yep.
Right. So I did a little bit of Googling and Google Foo and Google Translation to try to figure out what Nouveau Vindi means.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I don't know if it's just a made-up name or not, but nouveau in French is a person who has acquired wealth recently and is regarded as vulgarly ostentatious or lacking social grace. In Vindi, the closest thing to Vindi is like an abbreviation of vindicar, which is Spanish for to vindicate. So essentially we're saying like this recently wealthy, ostentatious, social inept person that's got a desire to vindicate something. So that's Dr. Nouveau Vindi.
So he's like the mad scientist Star Wars version of like Molly Brown? I don't...
Maybe?
Yeah, that's...
I was thinking... I'm going to make a comparison with him a little later, and I think that might be a little more appropriate, and it might fit in line with this Nouveau Vindi translation that I developed. So.
Okay. So, at this point... Then Anakin, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, R2 finally land in a ship at Naboo.
All right.
So we are getting... Now we're there.
Now we're there. Now we got them. Now we got the whole crew together, even though they're separated.
Yes, yeah.
So Anakin is pissed that Typho let Padme go. And then C-3PO reminds him that, when she puts her mind to something, like she's pretty hard to stop. So he's like, yep, fair enough, whatever. Okay, let's move on. And
that makes sense.
At this point, we have another droid that we're trying to get some info out of. And
yes.
So they go into the other room. And I will say that this looks like the same hangar with the same, like, attached droid dissection area. But Padme's ship is no longer there, which I found kind of odd. Like, the lats just come in and land, and Padme's ship just isn't there anymore. Everything else looks the same. Right.
Maybe it's like the landing platform, but there's like a space valet that happens.
Okay.
Right? Because I don't think it's meant to be the parking hangar.
I don't know. I think I'll disagree with you because this is a similar design to the hangar that we saw in The Phantom Menace. Okay. Like,
I agree. Yes.
We've got the Naboo starfighters, the yellow ones with the chrome front tucked into their little nooks on the wall. This is a recreation of that hangar down to the point that in the behind the scenes stuff, Dave Filoni is talking about how they took all these measurements and they tried to reproduce that hangar to the T, and they had already had the designs for the Naboo starfighters. So when they digitally rendered all this stuff and they put the starfighters into their little parking spots, he was like, the parking spots weren't big enough. There was the cone tail, the spike that sticks out the rear end. He was like, they weren't deep enough. It wouldn't fit. So what they did is they put a little port in the wall, and the starfighters almost like plug into the port. And he was like, okay, we fudged it a little bit. It worked. But then later he was talking to one of the guys that worked on episode 1, Phantom Menace, right? And he was like, yeah, I don't know how you guys did it. Like, we had this issue where this is what we did. And the guy's like, yeah, totally. We had the same issue. Like, we had to do the same thing. And we figured that it was like tucked away behind it and nobody would notice. So I'm going to say that this is the same type of hangar. And in The Phantom Menace, that is exactly where Padme's ship is just parked. Like, parked, ready to go all the time.
That is true. Do we have confirmation that it's not the exact same hangar? Because they were so visually similar, as you now say that they are an exact replica.
I think that they are the same.
Yes, I assumed it was the same hangar that Anakin flew out of 11 years prior.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, we do see some ships leave this hangar, but we don't see whether or not it's like out over the like gorgeous waterfall. Yeah. Right. But being that they met the Queen, and that's like the hangar that's attached to the palace, I don't remember from Phantom Menace if there's like multiple hangars like shown along that cliff's edge or not. So I'm under the understanding that it is the same one.
Yes. So just my own, I should probably do a good rewatch of episode 1, but my understanding was that like it's a good hangar to come land and hang out at, but it's not the hangar you park at because you have all the fighters that need to go in and out of there.
Well, it is called a hangar and not a parker.
That's true. Yeah. So, I'm just, this one is, I got nothing on that and where Padme's ship's. Padme's ship is magical, okay? It gets destroyed, it comes back, it disappears, it comes back when she needs to fly away.
Very true. Maybe the Queen, maybe it was like on loan from the Queen, so the Queen like loaned it off to somebody else.
Or maybe it was like finally getting the fucking wash to get the chrome back up to shiny speck, so.
That could be too.
Right. They're like, hey, while you're here, like my favorite car wash is over on this corner, and then like she like does the behind the back like key throw it like some sad valet robot or something.
Right.
So
okay, I'll go with that.
Yeah. I don't know why I turned Padme into like an 80s skeevy like businessman.
I'm not sure either.
She throws on some like old Ray-Ban Wayfarers and everything too while she's doing it, slicks back her hair.
That I would believe.
And then pops down like 3 fucking Quaaludes. So,
Ludes.
Get the Ludes. So, in getting the news that Padme has disappeared off to the swamps of Naboo, Annie's pissed and sends Ahsoka to go check on her, and Peppy Bo is there, and Typo is like, yeah.
Yes, because when Padme met Peppy Bo, she was like, thanks for the info. You look scared. I know you want to go home. We're going to have some security forces come pick you up.
Yes, exactly.
Help you out. But they didn't take her home. They took her back to the palace, so whatever.
For her safety. Like, Typho mentions it, and it's like, we brought her here for her security or something to that effect.
Right. Which is what everybody says to prisoners of war.
Basically, yes.
So she gets to go with Ahsoka, and it's at this point that I do have a note that says, "Hey Lorenzo, check out minute 10, second 29, because this is proof that Peppy Bo also has a belly button."
Ah, interesting. Are we really only 10 minutes into this episode right now?
We are, yes.
That makes sense. That makes sense. All right.
We're slightly less than halfway.
So,
and slightly less than halfway, we get to droid head number 2.
Yes.
There's a battle droid head just sitting on a table. Typhoid says something like, we did a robo-lobotomy, which I guess that means just like taking its head off. And
poking around.
I guess, because it's just kind of sitting there, and then they do something to like activate what they found, and it's a transmission of Dr. Nuvo Vindi re-explaining his plan to somebody else, and he says something like, my fellow separatist automatons or something. So he's doing in this episode what Lock Durd did in the last episode, where he's like giving this grand oration of his big plan to a bunch of battle droids.
Yeah, who probably don't care because they're programmed to just handle the shit anyways.
Because they're battle droids. So at this point, like, boss man's talking when we could just be doing what we're supposed to be doing, but we have to wait because the boss man's talking.
Yeah.
So
we don't need motivation, we just need directive.
Right. This is exactly. Exactly.
Right.
This is how Obi-Wan and Anakin figure out what's going on. And so then they formulate a plan, which for Obi-Wan is logical and for Anakin is emotional. And Anakin just wants to go rescue Padme. And Obi-Wan is like, nope, we got to think this through. Like, here's what we have to do. We have to get in. We have to get the doctor. We have to stop the bombs. Like, there's more to all this than just Padme. So essentially, don't let your feelings get in the way and don't fuck it up.
Yes.
So then our crew splits up for a little bit. We cut back to Ahsoka and Peppy. Yes.
Peppy Bo.
They find the ship that Padme was in. And then here's another interesting part to this base. So we should have all these holes in the dirt where all these hatches were opened and robots went up and prisoners went down and all kinds of stuff, right? Yeah. But the only evidence of anything is that the tracks from Jar Jar and Padme just stop.
Yeah. They disappear.
It is as though they were walking and then they were just no longer there. So when these hatches close, they are also being recovered by like dirt and mud of the swamp, and everything is being like evened out, like everything is nice and undisturbed and whatnot. So I'm guessing there's like a separatist Hagrid or something that like lives in a hut on the edge of the woods that like goes out and caretakes
muddies things,
or something.
Not
quite
I
sure.
agree.
Because even after like all of this whatnot, construction and everything else that we already brought up, we have this problem of the magical dirt like recovering the holes, and then also it's somewhere around this time that Typho shows a projection of the design of this lab, and it is some large pods with like connecting tubes that go to other pods, but then they're all on different levels, and like some tubes only go to some pods. And like if you're gonna do this, you dig a hole, You don't dig like 9 holes and put 9 different pods at different levels and then dig tunnels from those pods to like other pods.
And the fact that, let's say you want to get from pod 1 to 5.
That you would have to go like 1, 2, 4, 3, 6, 5.
5.
It's
yeah,
weird.
Exactly. That's what I noticed in the design too. No logical person would design any sort of facility in this.
And then when they're inside, there isn't like the layout inside does not match the
schematics.
The schematics. So
yeah,
potentially the schematics aren't correct. Like I think that Typho says they did like a scan of the area or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that maybe they do have satellites, and like not only do they have satellites that can see what's on top of the ground, but they have like ground penetrating satellites, which is some technology that I'm sure is either already exists or coming down the road.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my bitch of the design of this place, and
it makes no sense.
Right.
Because then with using the schematics, they tell Ahsoka to blow up
a specific section.
Yeah, like the south bunker or something like that. Yeah.
Right, but not the bunker itself. Like what they want her to do is they want her to drop a bomb so it blows up the tunnel that leads to the bunker, essentially.
Yeah.
So that then the bunker will be cut off, and because that's supposedly where all these bombs are.
Mm-hmm.
So
and then
we've got 3 different approaches from here where Anakin gets lectured by Obi-Wan and he flies off with 2 lats. Ahsoka is already there, and she for some reason has a thermal detonator that she pulled out of who knows where.
Yep.
And later 3 lats show up all at the same time, and one of them has Obi-Wan on it. So when the time is right, Ahsoka force floats this thermal detonator over to the predetermined location, and there's a little bit of funny camera angle shenanigans where like one of these eye socket on a stick cameras pops up from under a rock and like almost sees the detonator, so then Ahsoka has to like float it behind a tree root or something. So then she blows that up, and then immediately these 3 lats show up, and there's a really cool shot from like ground up of some clone troopers like rappelling out of the lat down into this hole that she made. And it was my understanding that Anakin told her like, blow up this thing and then like stay out of the way, like we'll be in to take care of it because we're gonna have clone troopers, and she was supposed to like stay guard or stay watch or something, but instead she just sprints her ass over there and like jumps down in the hole with the clone troopers also.
I thought she was...
Or was that the plan, is that she was supposed to go down in there also?
Yeah, because she was causing a diversion, because she needed to create a diversion at the south bunker so that they could enter in through a vent.
Okay.
So there was like a 2-team system. So if Team A is Anakin...
Not through a vent. They were going through 2 other hatches into 2 other pods, as we've
something
been
like
calling them.
Hatches or what? Yeah.
Right.
So my understanding was that she was going to create the diversion and try and pull as many of the droids to her location, so that Anakin, being the main rescue party, could go try and recover Padme and Jar Jar.
Right.
Should they still be alive?
Correct.
Obi-Wan, before they leave...
Well, actually, no, that's not his job. His job is to get the doctor.
Yes,
doctor
that's right.
first.
That's right. Yes.
And then worry about...
Yeah.
Anakin goes to get the doctor. Ahsoka causes diversion. Anakin gets the doctor. Obi-Wan is supposed to go get the bombs.
Yes.
Then after that is done, then they can worry about any senatorial staff.
Well, because like Obi-Wan even kind of expresses the concern that they don't even know if Padme's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, he says she may be lost. And like the first time that I saw it, I was like, I thought what he was saying is like, you know, she might be lost, friend. Like, she's lost, she's gone. Like, that might be the situation, but this is what we have to do. But I think in reality, what he's saying is, like, she might be dead. She might be gone.
That's how I read it. I was like, hey, she got captured. We have no guarantee that this dude is sane enough to keep her around for hostages, right?
Correct.
So
then Anakin and Obi-Wan basically do the same thing, except for their lats like drop 2 thermal detonators each and then blow a hole, and they both just straight like suicide dive out of these lats, and then just kind of do like a half gainer or something and land like straight legged in the hallway.
Yep.
I think
no issue there.
I think my note was Obi-Wan suicide jumps in and breaks his legs.
Yep.
Repeat with Anakin.
Yeah, it's like the same concept of a halo jump, but from a lower altitude and no opening whatsoever.
Right.
So
I know that in one of the old Jedi Knight games, I believe it was like Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, I think, what you could do if you like fell off a building or down an elevator shaft or something is you could like force push down to like soften the landing. But that's not what happens in this. They just like super jump out of these things, and they're lucky to still have kneecaps that aren't in their armpits or something like that.
Yep. Pretty much exactly what happens.
So then we got 3 groups of people running around inside with like three different objectives. And to be honest, the person that does their objective the best is Ahsoka.
Yeah.
And
distracts the fuck out of everybody.
Yeah, when they get inside, I think Rex says to Anakin, like, hey, it's real quiet in here. And he's like, yep, it seems like Ahsoka's distraction worked. Like, let's go. And they're able to just straight run down a hall straight to the command center. And Anakin stabs his lightsaber through the door and starts cutting the obligatory circular hole that they're going to use to get in and out of this place.
Yep.
And the shot starts with him on the outside and then cuts to the inside, and you can see the lightsaber has already like poked through, and there's like a glass window so Dr. Vindy can see out, and he just casually walks over to some computer something or other. Like, he doesn't seem to give 2 fucks. Anakin cuts this hole and hops in, and then they have a little bit of dialogue exchange, and the way that this ends is that Vindy essentially says, you know, I'll one-up you. You got an option. Like, I'm not even going to kill you. You got an option. You can either catch me or save your friends. And then, like, flips the switch, which begins to electrocute Padme and Jar Jar. And then Vindy runs off. So my question at this point is, why the fuck Anakin just didn't use the Force to like flip off the switch and then like Force run down the hall and tackle the dude?
That is a good question. I didn't think of that. That seems very logical.
Instead, he like grabs his lightsaber with the Force because they had given up their weapons so that Dr. Vindy stopped hurting girlfriend Padme. Damsel in distress, Jar Jar. So he gets his lightsaber back and then like tears through all these droids, and then the clones have some pretty clever like droid ass whooping without any blasters or anything.
Yes,
and
I agree.
That's done. Then he takes off after Vindy. He tracks him down to a hangar, and Dr. Vindy throws one of these vials. That if it breaks, it will get into the air and it will...
The BSV gets everywhere. Which
virusitize everyone or whatever.
No good.
And
real quick, before you keep going, there is a fun exchange I want to bring up that I really enjoyed between Padme and Anakin that happens.
Oh,
so,
yes.
Before he runs off after Vindy, he turns off the giant pull switch on the whatever electricity that's frying up Padme and Jar Jar, and Padme says something like, hey, next time you try and rescue me, how about you turn off the electronics first before you start killing the droids?
Yeah, and he says, well, a little thanks goes a long way.
Yeah. I thought that was funny. So, anyways, back to where we were. BSV drop is thwarted.
BSV drop is thwarted, and here's my question again, like, Vindy is smart and throws it, like, out the door. So then Anakin dives for it out the door, and then Vindy just closes the door on him. When he could have done the Yoda thing from Attack of the Clones and, like, grabbed the thing that was flying with the Force.
Yeah.
Because that's how Yoda, like, saves Obi-Wan and Anakin. I always questioned why he didn't just grab them, like, pull them out of the way of the thing instead of, like, catching the big thing that was crashing down. But whatever. So, he being Anakin is, again, locked on the other side of the door from Dr. Vindy. So he calls Obi-Wan, and it's at this point that Obi-Wan walks into the bomb storage pod, bomb room, whatever you want to call it.
It's a big old bomb room, lots of little bombs lining the walls.
Yeah, and with some comical timing, he's like, oh, awesome, we found the bombs, and, like, everything's great because none of them are turned on. And then, of course, it's at that time that Vindy, like, has some wrist communicative bomb turner on her offer tracker type thing.
Yeah. And
activates all of the bombs. So then Anakin and Obi-Wan talk. I think this is the part where there's like a multi-way conversation where Obi and Anakin are talking, and Obi-Wan's like, you got the doctor? And Anakin's like, working on it. You got the bombs? And Obi-Wan's like, yeah, working on it. And then Anakin's talking to Ahsoka, and he's like, hey, Ahsoka, like, great job earlier, but we got a missing bomb, like, track it down. And then they end up running into each other because they're both running down the hallway. So Anakin and Ahsoka are able to kind of combo real quick, and they're like, all right, we'll all split up. Like, Anakin's like, I got the doctor, you guys got the bombs, like, go. And so Ahsoka runs off with the clone troopers, and Padme takes off with Jar Jar because he's so helpful. And then we've got, like, a 3-way race to the end of this episode between the three of them, and they all have their own jobs that they need to do again. And it's at this point that Obi-Wan's kind of set because he's, like, already with the bombs, and his bomb squad, which are these clone troopers that are, like, half painted orange, which was kind of cool, but they're, like, I guess bomb technician clones.
Yeah, it was specifically a bomb squad specific squad.
So they're deactivating all of these bombs, and Padme and Jar Jar are, like, walking down a hallway, and of course Jar Jar, like, smells something that he thinks is going to be good to eat, and, like, diverts into this sub laboratory with a bunch of plants that are growing. Padme sees this little rabbit droid underneath one of the tables, and, like, kneels down next to it and is kind of baby talking it, like, okay, little guy, like, give me the bomb, like, you know, be careful with that. And the thing freaks out and, like, screams at her, which scares the shit out of Jar Jar, which is hilarious, and takes off. And I don't remember who ends up grabbing it. Padme does, right?
I believe Padme grabs it, yes.
Yeah, she ends up getting it. Anakin, of course, cuts through another door. He called Obi-Wan for help, so, like, Obi-Wan shows up because his clones, like, got their shit under control. And they're going after Vindy. Vindy, in the meantime, gets on this landing platform with his ship, and it starts elevating, like, going up whatever. It's going to go up through the roof, which is the jungle floor, or the swamp, through the mud, through the swamp floor, and he'll be able to take off. All of this kind of comes to a conclusion at the same time, where Vindy throws some more what do we call it? BSV?
Yeah, the BSV.
Yeah. He throws some more vials of the BSV. Obi-Wan has to, like, dive off of this platform backwards and catches all of them, just, like, lands straight on his back, which looks like it would be painful, and he would probably have a concussion. Anakin takes his place, like, getting up on top of this platform, which he does that via the Force and jumping and climbing and other skills. And he's able to corner Dr. Vindy. The roof / swamp floor opens, and conveniently on top is Peppy Bo, who has just been kind of hanging out because Ahsoka said, you wait here and make sure that nobody escapes. Yep. And so they pop up through the floor of the swamp.
Big trap door thing.
The giant trap door the size of a large building.
Mm-hmm.
And Anakin is kind of fighting with Vindy. Vindy throws another fucking blue shadow thing, or he's threatening to, and then Peppy Bo comes up and just tackles him, like whoops the shit out of him with the stick.
Yep.
So
just
Anakin
totally subdues them.
Anakin grabs that vial. Vindy is subdued, and he starts laughing his ass off and going crazy because he's looking at his bomb stopwatch, essentially, and he's like, yes, the bombs, they're going to blow up, and it is going to be great. We are all going to die.
Yep.
And his little countdown stops, and nothing happens, and he basically goes, oh, shucks.
Yeah, what happened?
What happened? I do not know. Something went wrong.
Yeah, and then they cut to the bomb squad, like literally snipping like the last bomb.
The last wire on the last bomb, because they did all the ones in the room, but then they had to go to Padme.
Yeah,
because Padme had the bomb.
But there were a shit ton of bombs in that one room. Did they literally snip each and every single one of those bombs? Is that what they did?
I guess so.
Because I thought they were gonna like hack it or something, or find like the other like port to be able to deactivate the bombs. Nope, they're physically deactivating each and every single little bomb.
Yeah, I remembered, because I remember seeing this episode before, but I remembered the way that it worked is that there was like a little card, almost like a little circuit board that they pulled out of like every single one.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that's the way that it was, but you definitely do see there's like two wires hanging down off of the what do we call, I used this analogy before, what's that little toy that from the 80s that had the knobs on it that like bounce around on the floor?
The rumbler thingy, right?
Yeah.
The tumbler or rumbler, something
tumbler,
like that.
Rumbler, something like that. Well, I'll have to tweet out a picture of that because that's totally what it looks like.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
But yeah, so we cut to like a close-up of that, and then you see the two wires hanging down, like one of them's cut, and the trooper that does it is like, yep, that's the last bomb with plenty of time to go. And it's like one light bar on the countdown of doom, so whatever that equates to.
Yeah, it's really interesting that the countdown of doom, it's not like a red digital clock as we've seen in literally every movie ever, almost, like involving bombs and deactivating bombs and bomb squads and such. But it's an actual like face circular dial that has like red hash marks.
There's like a large red dot in the center of it, like where the face of the clock would be, and then where each like minute tick mark would be, there's another red line.
So, red hash of some sort just going around.
In the beginning it was green because like they were off. It was green, right? And then like when he turns the bombs on, they turn red. Like it turns
something
red,
like
the
that.
center of it turns red.
Yeah.
And they're ticking down. So every time one of these little hash marks disappears, you have less time, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So when they cut the wire on the bomb itself, there are also these hash marks, and there's like one or two left on the bomb.
Yep.
But Dr. Vindy's, like, his watch ran out completely, which is why he thought that they were all going to die.
The bombs were going. Yep. So that happens. Let's see. Yep. Bomb deactivates. Yeah. But that's... And then Jar Jar passes out. There's, like, some hysterics
Jar Jar
there.
does pass it out. I thought it was odd that everybody else that is left in the lab was like watching over the shoulder of these two troopers that are defusing this bomb.
Oh,
like
yeah.
normally when the bomb squad rolls in, like everybody else rolls out, but nope, they're like on the other side.
I think they already, because I think they all ran to Padme with the last bomb. Like they were in the other room, they were going like snip, 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 snip. And Padme's like, "Hey, I'm literally holding a bomb. Somebody needs to get to me. Where the fuck are you guys?"
Yeah.
So then the rest of that team goes to them. I think is what happens. Because like there's the one bomb squad, trooper. Then there's Rex, Jar Jar, Padme. They're all hanging out in there.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that's why they're in there. And then Anakin calls Ahsoka for a status report on what she's up to, and
well, he really calls to find out if Padme's okay.
well, yes, yeah. He's like, "Hey, how's Padme doing? Is everything fine?" And Ahsoka goes, "Yeah, Padme's fine. I'm fine too. Thanks for asking."
Yep. And then
Cue
it's
loud music.
Cue loud music, right? That's the
Yeah.
end of the episode.
Cue loud music. So, yeah.
So, I've got two things for the credits,
for it.
and that's just the voice actors for. I guess I have written by Craig Titley, which I don't know. I didn't look and see what other episodes he's written and what other kind of stuff he's done, but we'll give him that credit. The voice actor for Dr. Nuvo Vindi is Michael York.
Really?
Yes.
Ew. I meant to look him up because it sounded vaguely familiar, but ew. Okay.
Yeah, so he had, and I just looked it up on Wikipedia, so it says known for his roles in films such as Logan's Run, Romeo and Juliet, The Three Musketeers, and the Austin Powers trilogy.
Yeah.
And there is a picture of him, but I do not recognize him, so there is that.
Oh, really?
Yep.
He's Basil Expedition on Austin Powers, and I've mentioned off conversation that Austin Powers is one of my favorite movie series.
Yes.
Period ever.
Yes.
So, yeah, Michael York. I want to say he plays Mercutio in Romeo and Juliet, but that is one I have not seen in a long time. That version, especially, I have not seen in a long time.
I'll have to look him up. You'll have to send me a picture of him in Romeo and Juliet. I do have one other.
Tybalt. He plays Tybalt.
Is that the redheaded dude?
Tybalt is the prospective husband of Juliet, I believe.
Okay.
Or no, who the fuck? I need to read that again. No, Tybalt is her cousin?
Right.
Because Romeo stabs Tybalt. That's the one, right? Romeo. Yeah. So also.
Well, he stabs at Tybalt. Well, the dude that. No.
We'll So we'll have our own other
Maybe.
spin-off. These aren't the 1600
Capulets
playwrights
you're looking for?
that you're looking for. So where we review each and every single one of Shakespeare's plays. So
yeah, stanza by stanza.
Stanza by stanza, and we'll go in chronological order with these ones too.
Right. That would be fun.
So, yeah.
Anyways, the only
moving
time that I was in a play was a Shakespearean play.
Ah, you're a Shakespearean actor, eh?
Taming of the Shrew.
That one?
Yes.
The one where you literally slap a woman around?
Well, I was not the lead. I was Tranio, servant to Lucindio.
Okay. I have never acted in an actual play, so you got that one on me.
Yep, that's the only one I've ever done.
I was not a performer as a youth of any sort. So.
It was a blasty blast. So I do have one other tidbit about Mr. Michael York, and he is the stepfather of Rick McCallum.
Ew, interesting. I did not know that.
And I guess his actual name is Michael Hugh Johnson.
All right. I did not know that York was a stage name.
Yeah, he's Mike Huge Johnson.
So, Yeah. Yep. Huge Johnson.
Hey, anybody see Mike Huge Johnson? Mike Huge Johnson. That's hilarious.
Why are y'all laughing?
What's so funny? I'm just looking for Mike Huge Johnson.
Oh, boy. Now I know why he picked a stage name. Anyways.
Yeah. Last note that I have is the voice actor of Peppy Bo, which is Gwendolyn, I believe it's Yeo. Y-E-O. Does that sound right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeo or Yao.
Yao. Gwendolyn Yao.
Yo.
A Singaporean-born American actress. But we've heard her before. She was the hologram VJ.
Ew.
From back in, what episode was that? Rookies. She plays Peppy Bo in Blue Virus. And I believe that is all that we have heard her as thus far.
Okay.
But she does come up in 1, 2, 3, 4, looks like 5 other episodes. So, there's that.
Okay. Nice. Cool. All right, should we get to final thoughts, ratings?
Yeah, I'm ready. Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Go for it, buddy.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, sure. I'll let you start with this one.
I give this one a thumbs up.
All right.
I really like Dr. Vindy. The comparison I was going to make earlier, and I forgot to, but when the attack on his laboratory happens, he's like, he talks to Padme, and he's like, your friends are here, sooner than I expected. And he picks up this large glass dome thing and puts it on his head. And I'm like, all right, he's just a cosplaying dude dressing up as Mr. Freeze right now.
Yep.
So
I definitely saw that visual homage as well. I noticed some Mr. Freeze-like look. Because we didn't talk about his character design, but he has a very long, slender head.
Yes.
He's very narrow.
Yes, and he's got a long neck, not as long as the Kaminoans, but if you could take a Kaminoan and kind of shorten them down a little bit, because they're elongated in general, to more human proportions, that's what Dr. Vindy looks like.
Oh yeah, completely.
But I thought he was a great villain. I thought he was well acted. I thought that generally this episode is pretty straightforward in why things are happening when they're happening. When we do get to that Act 3 where the action starts and we've got our 3 different groups that have 3 different things that they need to accomplish, and we've got these, kind of parallel storylines going on at the same time. We normally call them like plot A, plot B, and this hit 3rd act, and we've, I don't know that we should go to the extent to call it plot A, B, and C. I think that's a little extreme, but it all, in my opinion, it all worked well. Like it was enjoyable. This is a good 22 minutes and 33 seconds worth of the Clone Wars television series.
Yeah. I'm going to follow you and say I basically agree with everything you said, actually. Thumbs up for me as well. I'm glad you kind of brought up the fact that in the earlier episodes we made a clear delineation between plot A, plot B, and in this one it's hard to make that delineation because I feel there is a singular plot that is being attacked from different vantage points.
Right.
I agree with you. Yeah.
We are adding more characters to the story to compound the plot, but we're not splitting the plot into different things going on. Like all of the components of this episode are maybe not integral to the conclusion of the episode, but they contribute.
They all service one plot.
Correct.
Yeah. So I agree with you. All the actions here service a singular plot that they all are working towards. And I agree with you completely. This is a very straightforward episode that there isn't too much wasted time here. Much like last week's episode, I believe I gave it a similar review in which, again, my notes overflowed a page this week because there was enough happening that I just needed to take these notes, otherwise I would forget that these events were happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, just a entertaining, straightforward 22 minutes, 22 and a half minutes of enjoyable Star Wars stuff.
Yep.
So,
my biggest gripe here is the logistics of this hidden laboratory.
Yeah, and I like the villain being this doctor and coming up with this virus thing that they put some weight on it that feels appropriate, right? It makes logical sense. So yeah, that's all I got on this one.
I agree.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't think I have anything else to add. I don't know. No. We wrapped this one up pretty quickly.
Yeah, this one actually is we're still kind of at our normal length here. So we'll get on out of here. So if you want to get in contact with us, we have a Gmail. You could email us there. That's notthenerdspodcast@gmail.com.
Correct.
You can get in contact with Kevin. He's in charge of our Twitter, which is @nottthenerds.
That is correct.
And then on Facebook, we're @notthenerdspodcast there. So
that is also correct.
Yeah. So. And then we want to give our usual thanks to Kevin, who designed our artwork. You can find him on Twitter @TheyCallMeKdub. Lindsay, who put together the music that you hear at the beginning, and you will hear in about 45 seconds, hopefully, if we wrap this up quickly enough.
45.
strangefantasymusic@gmail.com. So yeah, we want to give our thanks to everybody there, and then these aren't the nerds you're looking for, everybody.
These aren't the nerds you're looking for. See you next week for Mystery of 1,000 Moons.